Superman has the most sensitive ears, which is why they call him a superhero. Welcome to Comic Book Editions Volume 258. I am wasting no time in getting started sharing stuff with you today, starting it out with a 2024 Hallmark ornament of Superman. In today's video, it's going to be an all Superman haul. Besides a few Superman merchandising pieces, I have some comic books released between 1976 and 1978 that I've recently added into my collection. I'm excited to share these with you, so this is your official welcome. This ornament looks much cooler out of the box than it does in the box. I didn't get it last year when it was a new for the season in 2024, but now have it into my collection, so I'll be set when the holidays kick off pretty shortly. Besides an ornament, you go to Walmart and you see this. I can't resist this. This awesome Superman notebook. Features the classic image by Neal Adams that was originally done for Superman number 233 back in 1971. I think it's so cool to walk into a store here in 2025 and find a Neal Adams item of Superman on the shelves. And this was during the back to school season a few weeks back that I saw this quite by accident, but was very happy to not only add it into my collection, I bought a few extras and have gifted those out as well to some of my super friends. Besides this, they also had another retro notebook, a little bit bigger one, and it's foiled out just like the last one was too. Here we have the Curt Swan cover to Superman issue 201. That comic book originally published in 1967. Kind of Clark giving up the Superman gig. This issue 201 I don't have in my collection and I've never read. Maybe sometime we'll have to do that on Fanboys Live and the Retro Review. Haven't purchased the Superman film yet, but I'm planning on getting the 4K of that and adding that into my collection before the year is over with. Might look and see if there's a good price for it when the Black Friday sales start to hit next month. Can you believe that's next month already? Crazy. We're going to get into the comic books. First, I want to remind you, I am getting so close to 1,000 subscribers. If you could share my channel and grab me another umpteen subscribers, and it's literally teens away from hitting the 1K goal, I certainly would be appreciative of that. Sharing this channel with someone that might be interested is a great way to show support. Giving the video a thumbs up, a like, a heart is something that the algorithm likes, and at the end of the video, I'll be asking for your comments because they're welcomed, encouraged, and appreciated. Thank you if you're a returning friend who's come to check out the new Superman editions into my collection. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. I hope you enjoyed enough that you'll want to subscribe because I got some great things planned for the future. Let's get into those comic books. Here's one that I've wanted for quite some time. This is now my oldest Action Comics issue in my collection, not counting facsimiles, of course. It's Action Comics number 456, and it's not all that old in relative terms of when you're talking about the years that Action Comics has been published. This is from 1976. Mike Grell does this classic cover, and you can tell that Jaws was really big at this time, and DC Comics wanted to get into the Jaws craze, and here you have a shark that's tugging on Superman's cape. You don't mess around with Jim, and you don't tug on Superman's cape. Cary Bates was the writer. Curt Swan was the interior artist. So in this story, it's Superman versus the Shark. Of course, the Shark originally a Green Lantern foe, but I know he's fought some other DC heroes as well. We also get a really good Black Canary and Green Arrow story as a backup, and they're defeating thugs that are dressed up as clowns. This book has a $1 price tag to it, but you know what? I didn't pay $1 for it. I paid 50 cents for it because on the flip was another one. Got both issues for $1. How can you beat that? Superman 458, also 1976. This time, though, it's Bob Oksner on the cover with an Elliot S Maggin written story and Curt Swan still on the interiors. So the UBC network wants their own superhero. So they create one called Blackrock, and he ends up becoming a foe for Superman. Then we have a story, Lex Luthor fighting Black Canary and Green Arrow. Luthor shoots Black Canary with this hypno beam, which makes her want to kill Green Arrow. This is the last Green Arrow Black Canary story that was featured in Action Comics. They would go without a home for stories to be published for about a year, and then would appear next in World's Finest issue 244, which was a dollar comic at that time. I love those Bronze Age DC dollar comics, and I love that era of World's Finest. But I'm trying to fill in some of these Action Comics with the Green Arrow Black Canary backup stories, so I was happy to have this one into the collection. We're going to stay with the same year, 1976. Bob Oksner again with the cover. Cary Bates is the writer on this story. Curt Swan still on interiors. So we have this alien that has this fatal allergy, and Earth is the only place that he can be where the allergy doesn't affect him. So he kind of disguises himself to fit amongst everyone as an Earthling. But anytime that Superman is near him, it changes him into his alien form. He reverts back to that. So he believes the answer is, you have to kill Superman. There's only one problem with that. He thinks Steve Lombard is Superman. So that's the basis of this story, with a backup story on Mr. Mxyzptlk. What a crazy name. Mr. Mxyzptlk is trying to impress Superman's childhood friend, John Ross, while Superman is off the planet on a mission. So that's the details that we find in this story. And just like the other ones, which I've kept these in their original bag and board because I wanted to show you. I mean, I would have been happy paying $1 for this story, but for $1, I got another comic book too. I have Superman issue 296, 1978. It's Bob Oksner on the cover. Cary Bates and Elliot S Maggin were the writers, Curt Swan doing the interior. This is the first of a 4-part story arc. I haven't read this one yet, but I want to. I know that Clark Kent's powers, his Superman powers, don't work when he's Clark Kent, and that's the basis of this story. So I want to get all 4 parts and read these, I think, but they're not on the official DC app, which is a shame because this sounds like a really good story arc. Let's talk a moment about this cover, though. Is this the first time that this cover had been used? Because I know this has been homaged in many, many different places. One of the most famous homages of this cover, I think, is X-Men Volume 1, Issue 138, following the conclusion of the Dark Phoenix saga with the death of Jean Grey with Cyclops walking away. So I think, I mean, this one predated the X-Men, I'm pretty sure, and it's been used many times, but was this the very first time that this isn't an homage, this is the original, right? Leave me a comment, let me know if I'm correct in saying that. We'll jump back into Action Comics. $1 got me the first appearance of the Supermobile, and I got it on a Whitman variant. Double score. We're at 1978 right now. Garcia-Lopez on the cover on this. Cary Bates, the writer. Curt Swan still doing interior art. So Superman is using the Supermobile, and that's a flying machine that can simulate his powers, and he's trying to battle Amazo and protect himself from this powers zapping radiation that's been affecting Earth for a few days. Amazo is threatening his friends at the Daily Planet if they don't turn over Professor Ivo. So that's the general basis of this. I had the Supermobile. I think it was made by Corgi, a little tiny toy that they produced one time as a childhood collector. I did have that. And I always thought the Supermobile is pretty cool. It's a little redundant because if you're Superman, why do you need a Supermobile? I guess you need it when there is power zapping radiation going on the planet. I guess that's why you need it. But visually, I think it's just cool. And I know it's been used in the cartoons a couple times too. And if you have the first part of the story, at the same comic convention, I was lucky enough to get the second part of the story as well. Action Comics 482. Garcia-Lopez again on the cover, same creative team, Cary Bates writer, Curt Swan artist. I got this for less than $1. I actually found this one first, and then at a different dealer found the first appearance. So I got the first and second appearance of the Supermobile for less than $2 combined. How can you beat that? The basis of this story is Amazo attempts to kill Lois Lane, but Superman rescues her in the Supermobile, And then they travel 5 days to the future inside of it. So by that time, the red radiation, which has been affecting Earth's orbit, that had been zapping his powers, that's gone. So Superman's able to regain his powers. He's able to defeat Amazo. Amazo, however, recovers and vows revenge as Superman takes Lois and Professor Ivo back to Earth. So that's our general gist of this storyline. You can tell that I love this era of, I mean, I'm a Bronze Age fan anyway. I always say that I haven't met a Bronze Age comic book that I wasn't good friends with, and this is another fun one. One more I want to share with you before I wrap up this all Superman-themed video. It's Action Comics number 486. 1978 is where we're going to end today with a Rich Buckler cover. Gerry Conway, the writer. George Tuska is doing the interiors. I got this for less than $1. Now, back in comic book editions 208, I showed a copy of this book. It wasn't a Whitman variant like this one is, but it was an upgrade for me. And I had this original book, my original copy I bought as a childhood collector. It was one of the first Action Comics issues I ever owned as a childhood collector. I had like the regular newsstand copy. And like I said, I just bought an upgrade to that a few months ago. And even though I just bought the upgrade, when I saw this as a Whitman, I don't know what, it just came over me. I'm like, I just need to have this. I just feel the need to have this. So back in the comic book editions 208, I kind of talked more in depth about what happens in the story for this issue. So I won't go over that a whole lot, except to say this brings me lots of memories when I look at it. Are you looking for any of these Superman items for your collection? Let me know, as your comments are welcomed, encouraged, and appreciated. I love reading those. Let's talk about what's on the channel and what's coming up. The back issue of the week YouTube short, which this time is spotlighting a Marvel title, is currently on my channel. It just dropped yesterday morning. So take a moment to watch that if you haven't. We're getting pretty close to back issue of the week 200. So I've been doing this for like 4 years and haven't missed a week. So that's really exciting. So back issue of the week, I said 400. It's actually back issue of the week 200. Will be a Halloween themed one coming up in a few weeks. So getting all super crazy here. Also coming up, I'm going to be a special guest with Joe, Anachronic Comics, scheduled for the 10/11 on Gary B. the Casual Comic Guy's YouTube channel this Thursday, October 16th. If it's past the 16th when you're watching this video, that's been archived on the collaborations playlist folder on my channel. But Joe and I have both completed Justice League of America Volume 1, our runs of that. So we're going to do a JLA Volume 1 themed 10/11 edition, which is going to be a lot of fun. Kind of got my list put together of the titles I'm going to share. So I'm really looking forward to that as well. Next week on Wednesday, another edition of JLA versus Avengers. It's issue 18 from Avengers Volume 1 and Justice League of America Volume 1. That's on John's Comics with Friends YouTube channel, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. So make plans to join me for that. Fanboys Live the Retro Review is back this upcoming Sunday, the greatest DC comic show on YouTube. It's going to be Wonder Woman themed because next week is National Wonder Woman Day. So we'll kind of get that kicked off with Fanboys Live and the Retro Review this upcoming Sunday with Signature King and myself. Make plans for that because it will be fun. And next week, to also tie in with Wonder Woman Day, an all Wonder Woman themed comic book editions video. So that's what you can expect coming up on the feature on my channel. Like I said, next week will be the Wonder Woman themed comic book editions 258. As of today, wrapping up comic book editions 58. Next week, 259 will be all Wonder Woman. I thank you for making it to the end of this video. I hope you have a happy, healthy, and safe rest of your day and week, and I look forward to visiting with you soon. Take care. Superman has the most sensitive ears. Ears?